business news on Sunrise coming up this morning. In this bulletin, Ghana's trade in goods soars to $52.5 billion in 2025 from $6 billion in 2004 as gold strengthens dominance and Asia becomes key trading partners.
Everything Ghana sold to the world and everything Ghana bought from it came to $6 billion.
Also, UPSA senior lecturer says oversubscribed Treasury bill auctions signal limited investment opportunities.
Investors are now targeting more of a safety asset. That is why they are moving more into government treasury bills.
Plus, Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, SEMSI, demands disclosure of all power purchase agreements since 2013.
Future contracts must be published or disclosed to ensure transparency and accountability in the signage of PPAs in Ghana.
I'm Christabel. Success Trevor will bring you details of our headlines and other stories shortly. Stay with us. Ghana's trade in physical goods has expanded significantly over the past 2 decades, rising to $52.5 billion in 2025. The latest Ghana Statistical Service review also shows Ghana has increasingly moved from the trade deficits to surpluses, while gold and Asian markets have become more important to the country's trade performance.
Ghana's trade in physical goods has grown nearly ninefold over the past 21 years, reaching $52.5 billion in 2025 from $6 billion in 2004. This is according to the Ghana Statistical Service's latest review of the country's trade performance between 2004 and 2025. The report shows Ghana recorded a trade surplus of 148.3 billion cedis in 2025, up significantly from 44.7 billion cedis in 2024. Gold remains the country's dominant export, accounting for 63.1% of total exports in 2025, compared with 38.5% in 2004. The share of cocoa beans and cocoa products, however, fell from 29.3% to 14% over the same period.
In 2004, everything Ghana sold to the world and everything Ghana bought from it came to $6 billion. Last year, 2025, that figure was $52.3 billion, 9 times bigger.
The report also highlights a major shift in Ghana's trading partners, with Asia accounting for 50.1% of exports and 48.4% of imports in 2025, making it the country's largest trading region. On the import side, mineral fuels and oils accounted for 25.7%, followed by vehicles and automotive parts at 15.4%. The GSS is urging greater value addition, diversification of exports, and stronger support for businesses seeking access to international markets.
Senior lecturer at the University of Professional Studies, UPSA, Accra, Dr. Eric Boachi-Adams says the government's 7 consecutive oversubscribed Treasury bill auctions point to limited investment opportunities in the economy. He says the trend suggests investors are increasingly turning to government securities due to the lack of attractive alternatives in the private sector. Dr. Boachi-Adams' observation comes off the back of government scoring 7th straight oversubscription in last Treasury bill auction.
The continuous oversubscription of the Treasury bill rate for this past week, month tells us there's not much investment options for businesses, and it also shows the risk tolerance for investors, that investors are now targeting more of a safety asset. That is why they are moving more into government treasury bills. You know, if we look at the treasury bill rate from the beginning of the year, started around 11%. Currently, we are doing around 5.76%, although it has fallen. But yet, the appetite for treasury bill investment keeps going up. It shows that investors are rather more comfortable giving to the government than giving to private sector.
The Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, CEMSI, has called for the full disclosure of all power purchase agreements, PPAs, signed by Ghana since 2013. Executive Director of CEMSI, Benjamin Nsia, is of the view the contracts must be subjected to public scrutiny to ensure value for money.
Nsia's comments come in the wake of the Aska energy bribery saga, which has renewed concerns about the processes surrounding the negotiation and approval of power contracts. Revelations from a United States court case have exposed weaknesses in Ghana's systems for protecting the state's interest in contracts signed with independent power producers, IPPs.
Future contracts must be published or disclosed to ensure transparency and accountability in the signage of PPAs in Ghana. Information available to us indicate that at the time that the AXA contract was signed, Ghana's excess capacity, even in terms of dependable capacity, was more than 40%. We were beyond our reserve margin, and for that matter, there wasn't a need for us to have signed the AXA contract as an emergency contract.
Government is being urged to review power purchase agreements since 2013.
Ensure that any of these contracts that doesn't guarantee value for money is terminated. The capacity charge of AXA at the time, it was the third highest, which is around 4.5 cents per kilowatt hour, only lesser than Sen Power and Car Power. The consumer has always paid for some higher price of tariffs because of some of these engagements.
CEMSI stressed that greater transparency in PPAs would help protect public resources and ensure that future energy agreements serve Ghana's interest.
Artificial intelligence could help developing countries achieve in a decade what might otherwise take a century. That's according to the World Bank's World Development Report 2026. The report says AI presents major opportunities to improve healthcare, education, agriculture, public services, and business productivity, but warns that benefits will depend on closing gaps in electricity, internet access, skills, data, and institutional capacity. It notes that while 4.5% of jobs in developing economies are at risk of automation by generative AI, 16.2% could experience significant productivity gains. The World Bank is urging developing countries to first adopt available AI tools, adapt them to local needs, and gradually build capacity for advanced AI developments. We'll now take a look at how the cedi is faring against major trading currencies and how some of key commodities are also faring on the global market.
The interbank foreign exchange market, where banks trade amongst themselves, the dollar is selling at 11 cedis 74 pesos. It's lost 3 pesos. The British pound is selling at 15 cedis 86 pesos. It's lost 6 pesos. The euro is selling at 13 cedis 55 pesos. It's also lost 5 pesos. However, be guided that these figures will be higher at a forex bureau near you. On the global commodities market, Brent crude is trading at $89.10 per barrel. Gold is trading at $4,369.06 per ounce, down by $21.89. Cocoa is trading at $5,654 per ton, down by $2,708.
Update from the forex and commodities markets, and that'll be all for the business news on Sunrise. For more business stories, please check out our website 3news.com. I am Christabel Success Trevor. The rest of the team are on standby. Stay with us.